call this meeting of the Upshur County Board of Education to order. And our first order of business this evening is to stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dr. Allman is not present this evening. Is the mission statement under his? We don't have the mission statement. Okay. That's quite all right. Eventually we'll have it memorized and we'll just spit it right out there. So let the clerk note then that all are present except for Dr. Allman, who was on a trip to visit one of his children, and prolific children, I think, having another grandchild. So good thing. Moving on to item 4, approval of the agenda and/or agenda adjustments.
We do have one agenda adjustment, and that's under personnel. We place that in front of you with the changes on there in boldface. Attachment G.
Okay. Motion to approve the agenda as adjusted. Thank you, Mrs. Bellamy. Second. Thank you, Mr. Jones. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We've had a chance to review the minutes of the May 22nd regular meeting. Any additions or corrections? Hearing none, I entertain a motion. Thank you, Mr. Suter. Second. Thank you, Mr. Johns. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Moving on to acknowledgments and announcements.
Well, we have some acknowledgments and announcements. We're very pleased tonight to have a group of high school students with us that have asked to address the board and talk to you a little bit about a project they've been working on, and they've been working through the National Youth Leadership Initiative. And I asked who I should introduce, and I was told that I just basically need to get out of the way. They're going to stand up and introduce themselves, and they would like to address the board on some things that they've been working on. And then we're going to invite them back later on in the summer to get a little more detailed about this project. So the floor is yours, folks.
We are from Upshur High School, and we are a part of a group called NYLI, and that stands for National Youth Leadership Initiative. And first off, we're going to introduce ourselves. So my name is Angie Botzett, and I'm a junior.
I'm Lizzie Edwards, and I'm a senior. I'm Hannah Stankus, and I'm a junior.
I'm Sebastian Schroeder, and I'm a junior.
I'm Graham Scott. I am a graduating senior this year. Still in town.
With the help of Michigan State University and an organization called CADCA, which stands for Community Anti-Drug Coalitions of America, they trained us so we were able to find a problem in our community, which we came up with prescription drug abuse, and they helped us find a solution. And we came up with possible solutions to fix it.
As a group, some of the things we've done in our community are we have attended 3 leadership training events. We created a website that provides useful resources pertaining to prescription drug abuse. We started a Students Against Destructive Decisions group at our high school. With the help of UCare, we put on a spooky trail this Halloween that promoted drug and alcohol-free Halloween. We've designed 2 billboards that promoted safe driving, one of which is still up, and you can see. And we put on a prom promise this year, which is where students could voluntarily sign a contract that promised that they would not do drugs or alcohol this prom.
Being high school students, we witness our peers damage themselves and their lives every day. Drug problems not only affect the one doing them, but also the people around them. Families are torn apart, friendships are broken, and lives are destroyed. Efforts to eradicate drugs in schools should be encouraged. We want Buchanan Upshur High School to take on the responsibility to protect their students from the ravages of drugs. Although some may not think drugs are a big problem in our school, we think that any occurrence is a concern. Drugs are illegal, and we think the issue should be addressed before it reaches a high level. High schools are very important 4 years of a young person's life. It is essential for an individual to take full advantage of their education while they remain in high school. These should be the best days of our lives. By drug testing students, it may help them become better and become more responsible for themselves and their decisions. Although none of us can make decisions for an individual throughout their lifetime to keep away from drugs, school systems can start students off on the right foot by drug testing and giving kids a reason to say no. Our idea is to help students realize potential mistakes that they may make when giving in to peer pressure. We also want them to see how it will affect the school environment. Our program is not about punishing the student, but to prevent the student from engaging in these at-risk behaviors. Schools across the nation are taking this step to help better their lives of the students. We want Buchanan Upshur High School to join the growing number of schools and become a model school in West Virginia.
To solve this issue, we would like to propose a drug testing policy in which 50% of the students who participate in extracurricular activities or drive to school are tested about once each sports season. This test will be a saliva test, which is a swab of the mouth. At the beginning of the school year, an assembly will be held for students who are participating in this and their parents to not make so that the students won't feel uncomfortable during the test. This assembly will discuss the dangers of drugs and then talk about just the drug test in general. Consent forms will be given out to be signed by the parent and their coach that will allow them to participate in both the test and the activity.
To conclude what's been presented this evening, our NYLI group has been together for over a year, and in that time period we've cooperated with UCARE, a local anti-drug coalition, to develop an effective method that we feel will prevent and lower teenage drug abuse in Upshur County. And now we're taking this to the next level, and we hope you, the Board of Education of Upshur County, will consider our proposed policies, and by doing so, lower and eventually eliminate teenage drug abuse in Upshur County. Thank you.
Thank you. You open the questions? I just wondered if you had any research about this policy in other places, and how much has it helped?
We've looked at like the Randolph County policy, Mineral County policy, all these different ones, and we kind of tried to like make adjustments to them, how we thought that we could better them.
So the policy is in effect in other counties already, and we've fine-tuned it. We've added driving, extracurricular activities, different clubs, making sure that it's not a mandatory thing the student has to be in, but rather optional. You don't have to drive to school, you don't have to participate into a sport. So we feel like we're getting a broad reach of students, but at the same time it's consent.
How long has it been in effect in these other counties?
My Aunt Robin, she is superintendent of Hampshire County, and they have it in Hampshire County, and she said that kids are now, like her daughter goes to high school, and she said that kids are talking about like, oh, we can't do this because I might get tested this sports season, or oh, I can't do that because I have a chance of being tested. I want to focus on football or focus on soccer. So it also gives kids a reason, like if you're being peer pressured into it, you want to do it because everyone else is doing it, they can say, you know what, I have soccer, I can't do that. I have a chance of getting tested. So.
But there's no school that's been 4 years yet, right?
I think
so. There's not a big amount of data.
But it sounds like it's already having an effect. I mean, the kids are talking about it, thinking about, I can't do this. So
how often are they testing?
Once a month.
Once a month.
I think 10 a month in the other schools. At Hampshire, I don't know about that.
And who actually administers the test?
Well, no one knows about it except the principal and the superintendent. Those are the only people who know like the exact names of who's being tested because of confidentiality, and also with it's computerized, so it goes through. They randomly pick the names of they have a pool of everyone who drives and does extracurricular activities. They pick 10 names, and the superintendent knows, the principal knows. They bring those kids in without anyone knowing. They test them. It's normal. The only way they would know is if the kid told them.
The company representative does it.
Yeah, and it does. And the company representative.
And an outside group will do the data process and
send it to the principal.
Randolph County and Preston County have these policies we've actually been watching there. So they've been in effect about 2 years there. And they contract with the local health organization that actually comes in and takes the swab and then sends it out, and those results are sent to the schools.
Do you know of any of them that utilize like their school nurse to do the testing?
We do not.
Because I think that, like, you have to have the company who comes in with all the testing and who sends it to the lab. So, I think it was through the company.
Thank you all very much. Thank you for your presentation. Certainly something we ought to
We have. And some counties are having success with it, and others, the logistics have been a bit difficult. But I'm sure, particularly when we get a group, when it comes from the group itself, the logistics can be worked out. Absolutely.
Good. Thank you. What's next on?
Well, our next acknowledgement is kind of bittersweet. It's the time of the evening where we're going to say goodbye to Mr. Howard Johns. Thank him so very much for his service to the Upshur County Board of Education and the students here for the last several months. We do have a little token of our appreciation. Mr. Long, if you'd like to present this to Mr. Johns, as the board's president, maybe we could walk out there.
Certificate of Appreciation awarded to Howard J. Johns, Upshur County Board of Education member, presented this 12th day of June 2012 for dedicated services to the Upshur County schools. And even though it's only been maybe 4 short months, I have to tell you, Howard, I think you made a tremendous impact. I couldn't imagine having worked with anybody else being as pleasant as it has been to work with you. I had a lot of trepidation about that weekend. I gotta tell you, man, it's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure. And I hope you won't forget us.
I've enjoyed it, yes.
Good.
It's been a nice
Thank you
meeting
very
everyone.
much. It's been great.
We'd like you to join us.
Thanks.
And we have to thank Sheila also
Yes.
for allowing it to happen. His lovely wife. Because none of us does anything unless our wife tells us to.
Dr. Greenbrier.
And there's Dr. Allman. Correct comments.
My partner.
Howard, thank you
Thank you.
so very much. We really appreciate your service.
On the way down and this evening at dinner we were talking about, and I mentioned it to Scott before, I think the last meeting, about, 2 or 3 years from now when that new school is built, I'm going to be involved. And in a way I would like to be involved, but so be it.
Well, we'll remember that.
Put you on a committee.
Thank you again, Howard.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Could we give you a pose of the certificate again? We didn't really get a picture of it.
What do you want?
A picture of you guys posing with the certificate.
Want me to hug him? I love him, man. Now, is that all your acknowledgements and announcements? Now we move on to a new chapter. Item 7, oaths of office for our newly elected members, Ms. Tammy Samples, and our re-elected member, Mr. Alan Suter. Mr. Judge Cato, please come forward and administer the oath of office. Thank you, Tom.
We have a Bible if you'd like one. You don't have to, but it's there. It's available.
Thanks, sir.
Okay.
Repeat after me. I, Tammy Jo Sanders,
I, Tammy Jo Sanders,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
of America and the Constitution of the State of West Virginia,
and the Constitution of the State of West Virginia,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of member of the Board of Education of the County of Upshur, West Virginia,
member of the Board of Education of the County of Upshur,
West Virginia,
West Virginia,
to the best of my skill and judgment.
to the best of my skill and judgment.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Sign this right here.
Can we hold them?
Together already.
Repeat after me. I, Alan M. Suter,
I, Alan M.
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America
and the Constitution of the State of West Virginia,
and the Constitution of the State of West Virginia,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of member of the Board of Education
of the office of member of the Board of Education
of the County of Upshur,
in the County of Upshur,
State of West Virginia,
State of West Virginia,
to the best of my skill and judgment.
to the best of my skill and judgment.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Sign right here. Congratulations.
Thank you, Judge Cato.
You're welcome.
Yes, we're going to take a short recess, 5 or 10 minutes, and have a few refreshments and take some pictures perhaps, whatever you wish. We'll move on into unfinished business and continue with our school facilities discussion. Something
Just a couple brief updates. We've asked Keith to just fill us in on where we are beginning our summer maintenance program. And then he'll give us a little update on where we are with the MIP. We're starting to move forward. The SBA is ready to roll and they'll be sending out contracts.
Summer project-wise, obviously we just let out, so we're getting a little bit underway, and you can tell in some of this around we're still, obviously cleaning and some of the schools, including middle school and Union and Rock Cave and French Creek and whatnot. They've already started waxing their floors because they have a short window with when they, are done with their contract and whatnot. So a lot of that's progressed. Painting-wise, we've started in the middle school. We're going to start painting one of the exterior parts of the tech building. Hopefully tomorrow, as long as it doesn't rain too hard tonight. And then we've got some small things going on. We've got to move some outdoor equipment, fix some small tile issues around some of the schools. And then the larger projects are in the works with paving of the high school area and the wastewater plant union, just trying to finish up dates and when we can get those contractors in to get those things squared away. Just feeding off of their time right now, just timelining it so that we can get completed. And then with the MIP project, we just got everything's been submitted to the SBA. We're waiting for their information back, and then we'll be able to proceed with a pre-construction meeting. And included in that is with tonight with approval the CAL or Clerks of the Works. We've selected that gentleman for your approval. It's been approved by the SBA. We've actually gotten their letter back. So we're ready to rock and roll that way. And the last thing is survey-wise, all the surveys are completed from the community. We've gotten them in. We're still getting some. I entered 6 today that were submitted. So we're still tabulating that stuff from the community. All the student surveys were done. I'm just compiling the information to make sure it's legible. You can grasp it pretty quickly. So hopefully we'll have that, for the start of July. We can look at that and then tabulate those things, talk about it, discuss it. So it's all coming together slowly. It should. Sounds good.
I have one question for you. How much of the paving project at the high school are we going to be able to do?
Right now, it's the whole, what I've asked for and started is the whole area from where it was last stopped, the whole driver's ed area is included in there. And then Mr. Long asked me to, have the one area looked at again because of some issues that we had. So that's part of it too. I've actually I added that back in and asked them to look at it with the concerns of Mr. Long. So, but it's that entire area.
It's great for the driver's ed.
Yeah.
Well, long overdue.
Yeah.
Kind of knocked it out. But it's part of that paving. That area up there, once they pave it, is there any way we can put reflective type things as you start down the hill and then maybe at the bottom? I know at night when there's sporting events and stuff up there, folks have mentioned that it's difficult to see where that road starts.
Where the turn is and whatnot.
Yeah, and if you're coming out of the parking lot down towards the highway, you can't see where the road goes.
That's one area that, as far as signage, it's in the mix. I haven't, that's something that we can look at that way, I think, in regards with some better arrows or more directional. But reflective things are always something to
Just
consider.
something to mark that
Yeah.
exit there as you go out of that parking lot. Because I know at night, football games or soccer, whatever's going on up there, sometimes it's difficult. A lot of folks, yeah, a lot of folks, I think, have run kind of off the side there a little bit. It's hard to see.
Anything else for Mr. Wayne? Very good, thank you. Sounds like we're rolling right along. Okay, anything else in unfinished business? We move on to item 9, financials. We have the budgetary items in attachment B and financial reports in attachment C. George, explain yourself.
Just briefly, there's a variety of budget adjustments to supplement in some grants that we've received, areas where I know we're going to be above budget and revenue. I've supplemented that in to plug some gaps in the budget. Also moved some things around to eliminate some negative line items. As far as the financial reports in the agenda packet is the financial report for the month of May. It's tracking the way it's been all year. We're very close to budget. I've looked at where we'll end up the year. Exclusive of the MIP project, we budgeted about $200,000 of our carryover to balance the budget for the current year. And it looks like we'll be using some of that. And in addition to that, we're going to try to transfer some revenue into the Fund 51 where we will calculate MIP project to start to fund that project out of current year's revenues. But all in all, we're tracking very well with the budget, and there's really no major variances from that that we can explain. Unless you have any questions, that's all I have to say.
Any questions for George? Those two items. Question on the bills. I entertain a motion to approve the financial reports. Pay the bills. Thank you, Mr. Suter. Second, Mrs. Bellamy. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Moving on to item 10, the consent agenda. We have a request for use of school bus transportation for two different reasons. Motion to approve. Thank you, Dr. Allman. Second, thank you, Mr. Johns. Any questions about the consent agenda? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Moving on to item 11, repeal of county policies 1.8, 3.20, 5.9, 5.10, 5.11, 5.14, and 5.7. And that's because we are 4373.
4373.
All these come together into one policy now. So we have to repeal these. You all understand that? Last week we approved the exception of that. Motion to approve the repeal of those policies. Thank you, Mrs. Bellamy. Second. Thank you, Mr. Suter. Any questions at all about what we're doing? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Move on to item 12. We've asked Mr. Lampman to give us a state of the school address, summary of our past year. Kind of like the present.
Not exactly. Or should I start out by saying the state of the schools is fine? Isn't that what the president always says? The state of our union is, if you'll allow me, I'll stand up so I can face you. I'm actually very excited to give this report tonight, and I will try to limit it. There's so many good things to talk about, but there's also concerns we want to talk about and move forward. So I'd like to start out by just talking a little bit about Upshur County Schools. It dawned on me as I've gone around to different organizations and I talk about our demographics that oftentimes we talk to the board about those things, but we never put it in under one umbrella. One day I might talk about average daily attendance, and another day I might talk about the number of employees, but we've never put it all together. So I thought for tonight, I'll put that together a little bit and then I'll get into the details. So our enrollment this year has been pretty stable. However, our second month report, which is the report that we're funded from, we were showing 3,863 students. In our preliminary 10-month report, the last day of school, and principals are still working on that, we're showing 3812. So we've lost some students throughout the school year. That's pretty typical. We usually have a higher number at the beginning of the year in that second month report, and then by 10th month it goes down. As a matter of fact, last year's 10th month report was showing 3786. So from second month to 10 month, we've lost students, but from 10 month last year to the end of the school year this year, we're showing gains. So we have a mobility situation in our counties. We employ approximately 351 professionals. That's your teachers, nurses, librarians, principals, superintendents, 202 service personnel. And I don't know if we've ever just told you that figure. That's about 553 total full-time employees. And believe it or not, we have over 200 substitutes on our list. Cooks, custodians, teachers, bus drivers. So we, Upshur County Schools, when you consider all of that, employs over 700 people. That economically is very positive in a community this size. Our percent of needy students, those are students that qualify for free and reduced price meals, is 59%. So when you look at 3,800 students, and we have 59% of our students are needy, based on free and reduced, we know we have some issues there. We have approximately 48 bus routes, and as I reported earlier, they travel approximately 2,878 miles per day. So we've got a lot of rubber on the roads. Our average daily attendance this year, as of the last day, was right at 94%. So that's pretty stable for us. Year in, year out, we're usually right at that number. So we're pleased with our attendance rates. And as I shared with you earlier, I was really pleased with our attendance rates during our West Test administration. We were showing absence rates of less than 3% in all our schools. Even our larger schools had the best attendance they've had. So very pleased with that. Obviously, our goals, our number one goal, student achievement. We continually work on that. We had a really good test week, as I alluded to. The administration went very smoothly, a couple bumps in the road. Our students, our teachers, our community took it very seriously. So, a couple of things that we talked about earlier on. We wanted to increase the number of advanced level courses and students. And I think I reported this to you at the midterm, but it's worthy of reporting again. Our AP classes up at Buchanan Upshur High School last year showed an enrollment of 143 students. This year, 2011-12, showed 178 of our students taking advanced college level courses. That doesn't include honors or dual credit, that's just the AP numbers. So that's an increase of 35 students. That equates to almost 2 full AP classes, so we're very pleased with those numbers. Accomplishments this year. All schools were fully accredited by the OEPA, and Union Elementary and Tennerton Elementary received distinguished accreditation. So that doesn't mean we don't have work to do, that doesn't mean the West tests were exactly where we wanted them, but based on the accreditation standards by the OEPA, we're very pleased with that. Our student recognition this year, from a board perspective, I think is increased greatly. I think the new format that we put in place this year has been very beneficial, and I'm hearing more out in the community how much they like the fact that we're bringing more students to our board meetings. Just to cite an example, I got the phone call yesterday that this group wanted to come and speak to you all tonight. And the first reaction is what are we going to be doing, because the agenda is already set. So when we realized it was a group of high school students that wanted to come, we put them in under acknowledgments and announcements, which was the perfect place for them to talk about their issues. So hopefully even students are feeling more comfortable about coming and addressing the board. We're very pleased, believe it or not. This may seem somewhat, well, it doesn't seem simple. It's school safety. After many years of discussion at the board's expense and the board's approval, we finally have a guardrail in front of Buchanan Academy Elementary School. We've had a fence in place, and as you know, over the years, cars have gone through that fence. We're very pleased that we were able to do that. The tree planting project was taken on. Mr. Moran spearheaded it, but he went up to the high school and through the agricultural class. He got it done. And high school kids were out working with elementary kids, and the idea germinated from this Board of Education. Said, we're realizing how much paper we're using. Let's give back to the environment. So over 400 trees were planted, and as we move forward, maybe we'll do some more of that. I don't know if you all got to see the television report. WBOY did a feature on it, and they did a great job highlighting not just the trees, but our students, and kids had some great comments. Our Title I, Title II, and other federal programs review, if you remember back February, in that area we had a full state review, very positive. A couple minor recommendations, but as a whole, all our schools were recognized for doing a good job with the Title I. Our Title I director, Mr. Wager, Title II director, was complimented for the way that those programs are running, as were our English as a Second Language, which is Ms. Edwards, our Homeless, Mrs. Akers, and our Technology through E-Rate, Mrs. Clutter. They're all very impressed with what we're doing. With a few recommendations, we've already addressed those at the school level. School-based health centers have been established at French Creek Elementary and Buchanan Academy Elementary School. Those will be fully operational this fall. So we've talked about that for a few years, and we finally are able to move forward with that. Policy review and revisions are taking place. Sometimes it seems like it's slowing down a little bit, but we're moving forward, and we will be reviewing every one of our policies and getting it before you. Some of the review will take place that we won't take any action. Some will, but we're trying to get to the point where every policy has been reviewed, and then we can move forward with the revisions. This board adopted state policy 4373, and it'll be our policy 4011, I think. Is that correct? Expected behaviors in safe and supportive schools. And as a result of that, we will be doing a lot of staff training and combating inappropriate behaviors in our school and how to treat one another. Union Elementary received a $48,000 innovation grant. That's the second year in a row they've received money from the State Department, so they're moving forward with the implementation of that. We're in the process right now, and it's due August 31st, but we hope to have it done before then, of writing an innovation zone grant for dropout prevention. It's a new innovation zone that came through the state. It's up to $100,000 per year for 3 years. We had a consultant come in from the State Department who gave us some real good guidance on how to write this grant and what might be accepted. So we're very hopeful of working through some dropout prevention. As an offshoot of dropout prevention, when we talk through those things and we talk about those two forms, we also see that the thread to dropout prevention, obviously attendance is one issue, behavior is another, and course failure. Those are the ABCs of dropouts. And as we look at behavior, the offshoot of that becomes what we're going to talk about more a little bit later, is the how to treat one another. Harassment. We hear a lot about bullying, we hear a lot about cyberbullying, and trying to work with our students and our families to combat that. We submitted another grant to the state for a pro officer at Buchanan Upshur Middle School. So we're very hopeful that that being funded. Dropout data. Each of the last 4 years, our dropout numbers have declined, less and less, to the point where this year, as of the end of June or the beginning of June, the raw number is 60 dropouts. That's way too many, but that's down from 78 the year before. And that's down from 82 the year before that, and that's down from 87 the year before that. So we are making steady progress keeping our students in school. And I think what helps with that is the changeover in the transitional school that this board did last year. Along with the dropout and the behavior kinds of things, we also approved, the board approved the new alternative learning center for an elementary. We are currently looking for a teacher for that position, and we will, as you know, hiring 2 people, and it will be housed here at Buchanan Academy. So we think that will have some real positive impact. Summer school at the high school and at the elementary levels began yesterday, so we're in full swing with our summer school. The elementary summer school program, we had to cut it back a number of days, but we're still able to service a great number of elementary students. This year's program will only be 9 days, but it will be an intensive 9 days. The big one, money-wise anyway, is a $1 million grant that we got from the SBA. You all know about that, the MIP, but I think it bears repeating. One of the few multi-school projects that the SBA has funded. So our portion of that is $1.4 million added to their $1 million, and we're on our way to have those projects, and our goal is to have them completed this year. When we first talked about it, we thought it might take 2 or 3 years, but we're on our way to getting it completed. We managed to, we had the middle school tour. We videoed that tour. We placed that tour on the website for all to view, and you know that we've also put the public survey out there. So I think we've done a pretty good job of trying to inform the public of what our status of Buchanan Upshur Middle School and our future might be. You have to make those determinations. But not only did we do the video tour, we've had public forums, we've had meetings that just have addressed that. And we're still working on ways to get the public more involved in that process. As you heard earlier, our Upshur County teachers are participating in American Heart Grant, which is a social studies grant, framing our history. We have 2 teachers from the high school. We have character ed at all our elementary schools, multicultural affair at the middle school, Rachel's Challenge at all schools, and by the way, we had a fantastic Rachel's Challenge field day. My understanding is not only, I wasn't able to attend, I had a superintendent's meeting, but not only did the kids work very well together, it went off without a hitch, and they tell me that the Mountaineer, WVU Mountaineer, did a fantastic job, not only interacting with our students, but he went into the stands and interacted with our parents. We had more parents there this year than we've ever had, so that program continues to work. And that's all about making good decisions and treating everybody with care and respect. Our food service program has grown dramatically this year. We initiated, as you know, the breakfast after first. It's increased our breakfast participation 200 to 300%, and we're using more and more locally grown fruits and vegetables. We're going to continue that process. We've actually had a couple of students, I think, that have talked to Mrs. Nesselrode about buying locally. So we're going to continue trying to do more and more and more of that. And with fruits and vegetables, there's been several grants and other grants out there through the food service that our schools participate in. Hodgesville received a $5,000 technology grant. Buchanan Academy, $4,500 for playground enhancement. Buchanan Upshur High School Band, $3,000 for equipment. And Buchanan Upshur Middle School and Buchanan Upshur High School football programs received $7,500 each. So our people are out there bringing in grant money to our system. So, what's ahead? These are things that I think that we need to continue to work on, and I hope we'll be able to talk more and more of these. We need to continue to train our staff on the policy for expected behavior in safe and supportive schools, and not just train everybody, but get them to buy into it. Let's all treat each other with dignity and respect and move forward. We obviously need to continue our focus on student achievement. Buchanan Upshur High School is reviewing their exam policy at the school, and we've actually already started that conversation with the curriculum team, and they're looking at things of, if you are exempt from an exam and they haven't determined if you're going to be or not, maybe it shouldn't just be based on attendance. Maybe it should be based on participation. Maybe it should be based on what your current grade point average is. A lot of options there. They're also looking at, and have going to be asking permission to assigning a full credit for an all-year class at the end of the school year, as opposed to assigning it at the semester, half a credit at the first semester and half a credit at the second semester. The rationale behind that is, if a student struggles in the first semester, he still has an opportunity, if he really works hard and gets it in gear, at the end of the year, you get that full credit. Right now, the way it stands, if you fail the first semester, you don't get the credit, and no matter how well you do the second semester, all you get is a half credit. So they're really looking at that as a way to motivate students to do the right thing and to work hard. On its surface, I think that's a good idea, and I would support that. Something I want to start this year is what I call a new teacher orientation / induction program. I want to meet with all our new teachers at the beginning of the school year, and then meet with them probably quarterly or more often as necessary, for an opportunity for all our new employees to get together, share their concerns. We'll have a set agenda on some things they need to know about, and that will work in conjunction with the mentoring program. I think our new people need that connection, and sometimes if they just talk to each other, that can help them generate some questions, as opposed to be afraid of asking. So we're looking at that. The one we're looking at is the state will allow us to do that in another year and take the place of the mentoring program. And this year I'd like to combine the two. Continue the community outreach and develop more community forums, activities, parent trainings regarding respect for one another, cyberbullying, harassment, and other issues that we need to continue to address. I think that the forums that we've had, although they haven't been really well attended, the word is getting out. And that's our job, is to get the word out. And if we can invite more and more people to parent trainings and community forums, the better we're going to be, the better our students are going to be. So I'd really like to do more with those issues. Also, once again, we've talked about this, and there's been some problems with it. At least look in consideration of an ROTC program up at Buchanan Upshur High School. There's some logistical downsides to it. There's a funding issue to it. There's a facility issue to it. But I really think that if we can get it moving, and Mr. Wilmuth is on board. I spoke with him again the other day. He's looking into some other programs. And I think if we're able to move that forward, we can overcome the downsides. We can overcome where we're going to move, where we're going to play it. We can overcome, through community support, maybe some of the financial constraints. I think providing that kind of structure to some of our students would be beneficial. And then lastly, and certainly not least, is to continue to revise and review our CEFP. And as we move forward in making the determinations on the middle school, we need to make that CEFP a living, breathing document that reflects what we want to do with our schools. So I'll entertain any questions that you may have. Obviously, I wasn't able to get into every specific thing that we've been doing, but I, for one, believe it's been pretty successful. Yes, sir.
I appreciate your remarks tonight. You spent your entire career in the Upshur County school system, and you gave us a view of this year. What do you think overall is the strength of Upshur County schools from a career standpoint?
It's people. It's people. We have community support when we deserve community support. We have an excellent teaching staff. As I've said to you many times, 98% of our students come to school every single day and do what we ask them to do, and 98% of our faculty, staff, and other employees do exactly what we do, what we need them to do. We have a wonderful resource in Westland. We are a college town. Buchanan is a unique entity in itself with some of the outreach programs that they do. So I think the strength of our system is within it, the system itself. Obviously, we want to continue with community support. We're very fortunate and blessed to have an excess levy. Many of the things that we're able to do, other counties are not able to do because we have the support of our community with that levy. And I think if we generated a list of all the things that we're able to do because of the levy, you'd be very, very shocked at or surprised, because some of the things we've had in place for so long that we just take for granted. So that's an advantage, but it can also be a disadvantage sometimes, because we've always had it, but we've sometimes had it. And you know, Upshur County is a place that's growing, and it's a place where people really do want to come. We still, when we interview candidates for jobs, we still are highly thought of out in the outside community. Our school system is well respected. We have our concerns and problems like anybody else. We obviously had a terrible incident at the beginning of our school year. We pulled together to work with that.
Back to the ROTC program, there's a lot of national recognition there in that program.
There is.
It would be very worthwhile, I think, to get something initiated.
Well, we're working on. We've talked about it for the last 3 years. And there's always been something that's taken its place or something that we're not able to do it. But I think we have many of the folks at the high school behind it. I know we have our the VFWs behind it. We have some people at Rotary that are behind it, and they've all said that if it's a money issue, you come and see us, and we'll help you. They won't fund it all, they can't, but they certainly want to participate. So, one thing I do want to share with you that I didn't on another sheet. We talked earlier in the year about our discipline referrals, and y'all wanted to know where we stand on our discipline. Our discipline referrals this year are down. Some of the cases that we've had to deal with here at the board are more severe cases, but they are down also. So we're pleased to report that this year our overall discipline referrals countywide were 4,037. And last year it was 9,931. And the difference from last year to this year was one of the programs in one of our schools, Protect and Respect. Every time there was an incident, even when, and they were doing this on purpose, they were baselining information. Every time there was an incident where a teacher had to talk to a student, they were recording it and putting it in the database. This year, the second year of the program, they were able to remove it out of the database. But the numbers from last year, from this year to 2 years ago, are also down from about 200. In our in-school suspension numbers are down by 300, and our out-of-school suspension numbers are down by about 30 students. So, we're hoping that some of the programs that are in place are making a difference with behavioral issues. Obviously, this board knows that we've been dealing with discipline issues right here, and I think that's a very positive thing that when we deal with them, the word gets out that they're being dealt with. Other questions or comments?
Thank you, Scott. Well done. Moving on to item 13, do we have any correspondence or information?
Yes, sir.
Moving on to item 14, personnel. We've all had a chance to review the personnel list as presented by the superintendent. Do I hear a motion to approve? Thank you, Mr. John. Second? Second. Thank you, Mr. Suter. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Delegations or public comment? We have no delegations. And, want to say something, Sheila?
I don't think so.
Okay. So we'll go on to board member comments.
I just want to thank Mr. John for stepping in, helping us out, and I think he's added a lot these last few months. I just want to say thank you.
Thank you for stepping in and stepping up to the plate. Truly, it's been a pleasure.
Thanks. Then I had, as you well know, that discussion we had at my house on reservation and so on, and some misconception about the duties and all this kind of thing. Until you get here and see and do, you can't really appreciate it or whatever, get the real feel unless you're here to do it. And, it's been nice to meet the other members, Mr. Barton, Mr. Kelly, and Mr. Radford, and the other people I've known for a while. My wife said, are you going to feel, are you going to cry when you leave? So do you have a...
You need to serve 4 more years.
But it's really been a pleasure. It really has. And again, down the road maybe I could be some help, I still, some time ago, way back, I asked for a flat that land up there. I would like to have, I'd like to do some thinking on traffic pattern and things like this and present it to the board. If at some point you could get me a flat of the property, you don't have to be anything elaborate, and the idea of the design of the building. And You know, having worked at it for 50 years, I feel I have a little bit of knowledge about these things, you know, construction and traffic patterns and all this type of stuff.
Certainly, we'll see what we can do to put you to work.
Yeah,
as a volunteer.
Hang it on your wall and remember us.
Well, I know you had reservations about joining up, but I really appreciate you stepping out, you know, and just taking the chance to see what we're all about, and we all have grown from our association with you. We hope you've gained something from being associated with us, besides a fear of public service.
Well, you know, in 1950-something, I wasn't very old when my dad ran for Board of Education. And he got about, I don't know, something like a third of the votes. But, you know, I'd forgotten all about that until, you know, not long ago, and I have to remember it. And my sister said something about, do you remember Dad ran for Board of Education? I said, yeah, I remember after she mentioned it. And I had a chance a lot of years ago to get on the board and turned it down because I was busy and felt I didn't have the time. But God bless you.
Same for all of us. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, our next meeting date, which will be our first meeting date without Howard in several months. Our regular meeting of June 26th has been canceled. Our next board meeting for our statutory meeting will be on Monday, July 2nd, here, 7 p.m. By statutory, I mean we have to elect officers. It's that time of year again. And so we'll be meeting at 7 o'clock on Monday, July 2nd to do that. And that will be primarily our own business, unless there's just something that comes up. Now we're going to move into executive session for personnel. We're going to have an evaluation of the superintendent, and then we'll come out sometime in the wee hours of the morning and give you a statement about that. You want to hang around?
Catch them all.
So do I have a motion to go into executive session? Thank you, Mr. John. Second. Second. Thank you, Mr. Suter. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We're going into executive session. Personnel.